Welcome to user account enumeration and configuration. There are occasionally times in a red team assessment or a CTF when you may need to create a user account on a Linux machine. I can't necessarily say this is common in a red team assessment. I don't think I've ever created a user account when I was trying to stay really quiet, really stealthy on a system. However, in a CTF, maybe after you exploit your way on a machine, you can create a user account. That way you can just SSH into the machine in the future. Regardless, either way, we're gonna run through the user account enumeration and configuration section of the RTFM. We are going to execute this against our Kali attack machine right here because I don't want to create all these user accounts on our actual target session. So let's go ahead and kick it off with this first command here. This command actually tells Linux to go ahead and get a database for passwd. It's going to look very similar to the cat etc passwd file, but let's go ahead and run this anyway. Cat ent passwd. And just like we expected, we have all of our users on this actual machine. Now we get to the fun part. I'm actually just going to run through these top to bottom. I'm going to leave them up over here so we can take a look. But let's start off with this first one here. User add TAC-M, and then we just need a username right here. Let's call the name Ben. All right, looks like it worked successfully. We can cat etc passwd. We should see our Ben account right here. This next command will actually add the user to a specific group. So let's cat etc group. We'll find a good group name here. Let's say KP admins. So we'll do usermod g KP admins Ben. And it successfully adds the user to that group. Another one I use all the time, passwd. This is gonna allow you to actually set a password for this user. And then if this user does have an issue where they forgot their password, you can also use this to reset their password back to an original. If you're an administrator and you're not running as that user, you do not need to enter their valid password first, which is awesome, right? You're an admin, you can set their password to whatever you want, which is a good reminder. A lot of these user add commands, manipulating some of these things, you do need administrative privileges. So I'm gonna do passwd Ben. Let's give them the password. Password updated successfully. The next time this user goes to log in, they will need to provide this password. And we can cat etc shadow, and you should see that username and that hash located here. Next up, we have locking a user account. Like I said, not very often I do this in an actual operation, but still a good thing to check. Now, I do want to point out the RTFM has bin. That's on certain versions of Linux. It is also an sbin on other versions of Linux. In fact, here, let me show you this. If I do a which no login right here, you'll see it is in user sbin no login. So a great use of our which command we described earlier. So now we can run the command and we can just change this out with the sbin no login path. This is actually going to lock out the user's account. Again, can't remember the last time I actually ran this, but on an assessment or some type of assessment where you're trying to generate effects, it could be useful to lock out a user's session or account. That way, they put in the trouble ticket, they can follow their playbook and then find if they can see the malicious activity. I can even check this if I do a su tac ben. Your account has expired. Super sad, right? So now let's try to unlock it. User mod, expire date, tac unlock, tac shell, bin bash, ben. Now if I try to switch, works successfully. The next one's a really cool user enumeration command, chage tac-l ben. You're gonna see a lot of the actual hash information when we are parsing through that hash is actually shown here in plain text. So let me make this a little larger. We'll run it again. And then sure enough, you can just read very easily, human readable, last password change, password expires, account expires, really easy to read. And finally, we can always delete the Ben account to clean up after ourselves. Okay, looks like there is an error with some of the group stuff, but if I cat etc password right here, sure enough, Ben is gone. We're good to go. So I hope you enjoyed that quick look at users, creating the user, setting a password, disabling, enabling the account. Definitely a good technique to know. You never know when you're gonna need it.